Okay, today I'm going to show you how I made this robot light that is controlled by my face. All right, start from zero here. Okay, first of all, I know I'm going to be controlling this using DMX. So if you don't know what DMX is, it's the way that lighting is controlled in most professional lighting situations. I am using a USB to DMX controller called the Intech DMX USB Pro Mark II. There's a couple different ways to get DMX from TouchDesigner to your lighting fixtures, whether that's SACN network DMX or ArtNet or one of these USB to DMX controllers. Um, I'd love to hear what other devices y'all are using for this. I've really enjoyed the Intech device. It's a little pricey, maybe. There's some cheaper sort of Ethernet DMX controllers out there that you might be able to try. Um, anyway, but hit me up in the comments if you have any recommended hardware that you like as well. So, since I'm going to be going out DMX, I'm going to put in my DMX chop here. I'm going to select my Intech USB Pro Mark II since that's what I've got. It's one of the reasons I got this one is because it's directly supported in TouchDesigner. And okay, so one thing I do know too about this light, it's a very cheap light that I bought off of Amazon. There wasn't great documentation for what the DMX table was or what the different DMX signals that I needed to send were. So I figured that out on my own, and I wanted to show you how I did that. If you aren't interested in figuring that out, if you know DMX really well, maybe you can skip this part, and I'll put the time on the screen of when I'm done figuring out the DMX channels. But for now, I'm going to show you kind of how you can figure out DMX channels for a light. So I'm going to start with a constant, and I'm going to convert. By default, these sliders on a constant go from 0 to 1, obviously. And DMX control expects values from 0 to 255. So we're going to do simple math conversion where we say we want this range to go from 0 to 1. Instead, we want to go to 0 from 0 to 255. So now, when I go from 0 to 1 here, my chop goes from 0 to 255. Great. So you'll see right away that first one is controlling something. So I'm going directly from this chop through the math, and that is controlling the rotation of my light. Okay, so I'm going to actually rename this channel to be Y rotation. Okay, I'm going to add another channel, and this is going straight through. And I don't know if you can really tell, but the light changed ever so slightly when I changed this. So this is because in these mover lights, they have a coarse rotation and a fine rotation. So this first one is going to be coarse, fine. And for the uses or for this tutorial, I'm not really going to be using the fine at all, but I'm going to leave it there because it's going to come into play. I'm going to add some more channels here so I can see what they do. Okay, my channel 3 here is obviously doing my up and down rotation. So I'm going to call this my X rotation course because this one I'm guessing is also the fine, which it is. Okay, and then okay, down to my next channel here. I'm gonna try to point this somewhat towards the camera here first. Maybe not directly at the camera so you can see it, but not shining directly in the camera. So, okay, so now we turn up channel 5. Not seeing that do anything right now. Let's leave it up for now just to see what it does. Channel 6, also not seeing anything yet. I'm going to leave it up for now. 7, okay, so this is obviously my red channel. So I'm going to just put an R for red. I'm going to guess this is green. And that is correct. So let's go green. Sorry, name. And then let's go to the next channel down. This one, yep, it is blue. All right, so I'm getting some movement here. That's guessing one of these is controlling that. So this is like some sort of auto move. I think this one is my overall dimmer. Okay, so interesting. So when I bring it up, I can bring it up, and then when I cross a 50% threshold, it strobes, and then when I go all the way to 1, it's on all the way. So this is a complicated one, but I'm going to just call this dimmer for now. I need to change my blue channel. Let's see if there's anything else here that's going to be interesting. Okay, so this next one is just a white channel, so I'm going to put W for white, and then moving down. Okay, so this looks like it's just a hue change of some sort. And then let's see if we can get this to do anything, figure out what it is. Not really figuring that out right now. Okay, that's fine. So we've got 12 channels here, and that seems about normal. I mean, usually a DMX table will have, sometimes it'll have just 3 or 4 DMX channels with just RGB and W. Sometimes it'll have 9 channels with different effects and things that you can trigger with it. 12 channels is also something you see a lot, I think, just because the data formats make sense to package them that way. So, all right, so we've got our basic control here of our DMX light. So now let's go into how we're going to control this using our face. So the way we're going to do this is using MediaPipe, and specifically, I'm going to use this MediaPipe plugin that was made by Torin Blankenship and Dom Scott. And this is specifically just out of the box, easy to use MediaPipe tool for Toudchdesigner. And you can just drag it right in. It's pretty amazing. If you check out, Torin's got a amazing tutorial going through all the different tools that's built into this and how it works in Toudchdesigner. Super stoked about this tool. I haven't used it a ton yet, but I imagine I will be using it plenty in the future. So check that out, support them, and make sure you star their GitHub account for it as well. Okay, I'm not going to go through the entire how to download and install things from GitHub, but it's very simple. You download the zip file, the release file, and it gives you this set of files to work with. And so I'm going to first bring in the MediaPipe talks. That's kind of the main talks to bring in. It will take a while for it to be brought in. And then we are going to be using for this tutorial the face tracking element. So I'm going to grab those 2 toxes out of my GitHub folder, and I'm going to see if I can get my webcam to show up here. Might be okay. There it was. It first connected to my iPhone camera, and that's not what I wanted. Okay, so you'll see, and I'm not going to go through everything in this, but I'm going to turn off all of my features here except for detect facial landmarks. And I'm going to take my face tracking talks. I'm going to take the second DAT output, or the first DAT output, the second output, and drag it into the face tracking. You'll see already, I'm already getting this amazing face track with all the details. And also I get this overlay here where I can see how quickly and how tightly it's tracking my features. Okay, so Torin in his tutorial goes through what all the different outputs of this are. I'm gonna go a little faster through this just so we can get what we need. So this first chop output has all the information for what's being tracked on the face. You'll see it can track up to 10 faces. In fact, I'm going to bring my settings down so that it's only tracking 1 face to help optimize my performance here a little bit. But the output on the chop can give you all up to 10 facial tracking data points, or the sets of data for the different faces you can do. So just to make it easier for myself to read, I'm going to select down to just everything with F1 at the beginning. So F1 asterisk. So now you'll kind of see a little better what I'm getting. So I get all these great things like jaw open, my eyes, you can see winking. Smiles even. anyway, raising my eyebrows. There's a lot of different things, fun things you can play with that come out of this data set. I'm going to drag that down actually. And then the first DAT that comes out of this is going to be a transform matrix. And I don't expect everybody to necessarily know exactly what's happening here, but like it's essentially saying what the orientation of my face is at any time. So there's some rotation data, some transform data that's all stored in this grid or this matrix of data. So just to simplify things a little bit, we're going to convert it to a chop. I'm going to make sure I say my first column is value so that way I get everything. You can kind of see now it's when I move my face around, you can see some things moving. I'm actually also going to just go ahead and shuffle these so that I have all my samples, or sorry, sequence. I'm going to say split all samples. So here we go. So split all samples. So I can see I have all my different data sources here in different channels. And by playing around with it, I can see if I turn left to right, that channel 12 seems to really be locked to like where I'm facing. So for what I'm going to map to my light, I'm going to take channel 12. So let's select that out. I'm going to say select channel 12. There's my sort of left to right. Okay. Let's make some more room for everything. Okay, now for up and down, I move my head up and down a little bit, and it looks like this channel 31 is like the most locked in for that. So I'm going to go to my select. I'm going to bring in and select channel 31. Awesome. Okay, so now to map that to my light. So let's bring our, it's a little bit closer, I guess. Okay, so this one, what I want to do is because my light is going to be mapped from 0 to 1, it's expecting a 0 to 1, and right now I'm going from negative to positive. So let's figure out about where, so like maybe negative 0.6, maybe negative 0.65 to positive 6.5 is going to be all the way left and all the way right. I'm going to take this into a math and remap my range from that negative 0.6 to a positive 0.6. And so now you'll see everything's going from about a 0 to a 1. Let's do 6.5 just to try and keep it from going under 0 or over 1 too much. So, okay, that one feels good. And let's do the same thing for this up and down. So I'm going from up is about negative 0.5, all the way down is about 0.4, straight ahead is about 0. So I'm going to remap that because I want straight ahead is going to be about 0. So this light can't go downwards, it can only go straight. And then going up is about negative 0.6. So let's do that. So we'll go from 0, 1 to let's see, I want to start at 0 and then go to negative 0.6. So yeah, okay. So if I go back to my light, just for sanity's sake here, I'm going to be changing this from 0 up to, oh yeah, okay. And that's actually not what I want. I want that to be to 0.5. Okay, so this is where I almost skipped a step here. So okay, so instead of from 0 to 1, I want this to go from 0 to about 0.5, right? Because on my rotation, that's about as high as I want it to go. And then I need to do the same thing for my left to right. So this light actually spins over 360 degrees. So I just need to find the range that I want it to stay in, right? So I don't want it to start at 0. I want it to start, let's see, this is about my middle point, 0.7. Left is about 0.5. Oh, too far. And right, so I wanted to map to 0.5 to about 0.85. So let's change this to 0.5, 0.85. Okay, and so how we're going to bring these in. So one of my favorite things to do is to use a merge to overwrite. There is in chops, you do have this override chop, but I'm not going to use that. Instead, I'm going to use a merge, couldn't spell, and I'm also going to rename here too. So I'm just using the same rename. So I'm going to rename my shop, my left to right one. This is going to be my, how did I do this? Y rotational course. So let's do that. And then paste this down, bring in our other one, and then X rotation course. And now if I go to my merge and I say replace first with last, if I drag these into my merge, it'll actually just overwrite those values in the merge. So it won't add a new one for the merge. It'll just take whatever the newest thing is. Okay. Obviously, I've got these backwards. I think it's due to not flipping my camera. So let's make sure we swap these numbers around. Let's see, did I get this one right? Up and down is right, left, right. Okay, great. Turn these lights off so they're not shining in the camera. Okay, so I mean, this is the basis of how we do all this. Okay, you can just see I'm getting this error here. This is because this is always good error to see in case you forget what DMX is expecting. It's saying I'm getting my data clamped to 0 to 255. So that's probably because I'm turning my head too far up or down and it's going out of range. What I can do is here after my merge, I can add a limit and I can make sure these get clamped between 0 and 1. That way they never go above the values between 0 and 255. Okay, so now to add some fun stuff too. Let's say, let's see, I had it so when I blinked that it turned the lights on and off. So that's going to be using this eye blink left and right. So I'm going to select those out. Just do everything with blink in it. It should just be those two. Sorry, I'm just going to drag these down. And then let's see, I want to make these sort of a threshold here. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to round them up or down because it's showing me a confidence level of if I'm blinking or not. So if I round these, it should give me a good trick or a good threshold, just a 0 to 1, like 0 to 1 threshold trigger. Okay, and then I'm going to combine these just for ease of use here. You can, keep these separate and use them for two different effects if you want, but I'm going to combine these channels with the or. So if I blink with either eye or both eyes, it should fire. And okay, what do I want this to control? So let's say I want it to control my hue change value. So let's rename this to hue change, and let's drag that in. So when I blink, it's turning on. I guess it's a little backwards from my original example, but we'll keep it for now. Okay, so the other thing I did, let's see, jaw open. Let's do a similar thing for that. So let's select out the jaw open. Okay. And then let's simply rename that to, let's just do the white value. Let's see what that does. Interesting. Okay, so it's not really, what am I doing wrong here? Oh, I didn't do the underscore on my hue change. Let's change that. Okay. So I'm getting output. What am I doing wrong here? I think maybe because my dimmer's down. When I blink, I get some color change. Let's turn the color so it's just red until I open my mouth, and it'll do the white amount based on how much I open my mouth. Still tracking my face. blinking. Anyway, you get the idea. I think there's lots of fun things you can use this MediaPipe data for. I'm only scratching the surface with this because this is only face tracking. There's also things like, detecting hands, detecting poses, object classification, lots of really fun things. If there's something specifically you'd like me to try and do with this, definitely send it my way. Um, but yeah, it's just a simple, fun little tutorial. That's it. Thank you.